Oh, doing well. Ben finally got me.
We're a little late asking you this, but what was it like last year when you go from being on staff here, you get an opportunity as a position coach, and then you end up back here in the same role you were just taking elsewhere? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
Yeah, I was extremely grateful for Coach Clay Helton and giving me the opportunity, and Coach Tucker was very supportive. Him, Coach Johnson, and Coach Piegel as well. They supported the decision because they understood. But for me, it was an opportunity to go run my own room, an opportunity to get on the road, recruit a little bit more, and show what I could do in this business and what I can provide. And when Piegel left, I kind of knew before everyone, so I knew the opportunity might present itself. And Coach Tucker, he called me and we talked about it, and I was grateful for the opportunity he gave me. It was a wild 3 weeks for sure. Thinking, trying to find a house down there in Georgia. There's nothing in South Georgia, so it's like, man, what am I going to do? End up staying right where I was, and I'm happy about it for sure.
So you did leave here and were on the job there. I know I saw you at the Beach Bowl.
Yeah.
So it was just like.
So I went down there for 2 days to do a meet and greet, but I came right back. So I really didn't do anything. I went down there to meet everyone. I met the coaching staff. I think there was only 3 coaches on staff at the time. So met those guys, talked about, the spring process and when I would have to return. But after that, I came right back and finished the Peach Bowl. That was a part of the whole deal because I wanted to finish what we started last year.
We've heard a lot about Effrem this spring. What's stood out to you going from a scout team guy and then making these plays?
The one thing that stands out the most about Davion, his body's changed a lot, so he's able to endure a lot more. But the mental aspect of the game, he understands it a lot more. He was able to slow it down, and he's slowing things down out there on the field, so he's able to process a lot more, and he's playing faster and making plays. For him, as a young guy, you're always out there trying to speed up your footwork, speed up your eyes, when you don't really have to do all of that. He understands how plays are being blocked, where he fits in the pass game. So once he gets all those things and he's consistent with it, sky's the limit for the kid. He's been doing a phenomenal job.
To be in your obviously first time running this room now, and you think about the idea of replacing a guy like Kenneth Walker, it's obviously a huge hole to fill. That's got to be challenging, but then you also look and say you got a lot of guys in that room. Might maybe not be like him, but a lot of options there that it's got to be kind of exciting to see where that goes, right?
Absolutely. You can't replace a Doak Walker award winner. It just doesn't happen. Ken, phenomenal. I love the guy to death. He's here now just walking around and getting ready for the draft, trying to be a regular guy. But, the exciting part about the room we have right now is all the guys bring something different to the table. So Jalen Berger, he's a really good receiver. He catches the ball really well out of the backfield. He creates matchup issues for defenses. Harold Joyner, if he masters third down, he does a really good job of putting himself in position to block people, and obviously he understands our protections as well. Jordan Simmons is a downhill runner. Him and Elijah Collins, they both get the ball downhill really well. And Davion, out in space, he does a good job of making people miss. You add a guy like Jerry Broussard, who will be here in May, coming from Colorado. He's the same kind of player as Ken, but just not as big. He makes people miss, he wins his one-on-ones, and he does a good job of understanding the game. And he's played a lot of football as well. So that's the most exciting part for me. You got a lot of guys who do a lot of different things well. And you get all those guys and you make their weaknesses a lot stronger, I think you'll have a successful group.
For you taking over, how much familiarity of being in that room helped with knowing each skill set?
I think that helped a lot more than anything because it wasn't an evaluation for me. It was all just about getting guys in and helping them maximize their weaknesses this spring. Getting guys and putting them in position of things they weren't successful with last year and putting them in position to learn it, understand it, and get better at it. So I think that was the best part. Berger's new. He's a guy who I think has made a lot of plays as well this spring, but it was an evaluation to see what he could do, what he could bring to the table. But for everyone else, it was just plug and play at that point.
How much does it help having an experience with Jay, with just being on the same page with him offensively and what you guys are looking to do?
Oh, it's easy. It made everything so much easier. I actually played for Coach Johnson. I played in his offense, so I knew the playbook before I even got here. It was all about refreshing and plugging and playing at that point. But I think this spring we were able to kind of slow it down and experiment a lot more where I didn't have to learn anything. I knew what he was trying to do and what he was thinking of. So we were able to move the back around, in the backfield, out of the backfield, try experiment with different protections and different schemes. And I think that's helped a lot, already understanding and knowing what he expects from the running backs.
How do you evaluate what you're getting done when you're playing behind a kind of a skeleton crew offensive line?
Yeah. So, the backs knew going into the spring that our O-line was, work in progress at this point, but, they understood all they have to do is get their eyes right, work on their footwork, technique, and fundamentals, and we'll be fine. When we watch the tape, We don't worry about anyone else. We worry about our job. Do our job, and we're good. Is our eyes right? Is our footwork right? Are we in position to make plays in the pass game, right? If there's a blitz coming, are we in position to pick up the blitz? I just want us to be as detailed as possible this whole spring. I think we've done a good job with that.
Effrem, what changes or anything did you have to make, or learning curves that come from sort of being the number 2 voice to the number 1 for the first time in your career and leading all this? Is there anything that you would try to change about yourself or just do differently?
The one thing I had to do more was I was kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit last year with Pease. He had me be the bad guy and he'd be the good guy. That was his whole thing. But, now you got to do both. You got to confront, demand, and expect things and confront guys when they're not doing stuff off the field. Getting guys to go to class, be on time. I think the one thing different we did, we have a 15-second accountability rule in our room. So each guy in the room is responsible for something. So, for example, Elijah Collins, he's responsible for everyone being 5 minutes early to every meeting. Jalen Berger, he's responsible for everyone being taped and braced before practice. Harold, he's responsible for everyone finishing runs how we want. Davion, he's responsible for everyone taking notes in meetings. If I look up and I see it, I give him 15 seconds to address it. If I have to address it, then we address it after practice. So it's a chance for those guys to hold each other accountable. Because I firmly believe if we get each one of them holding each other accountable in the room, it makes them better on and off the field.
Is that your thing?
Yes, it's something like, yes, my man, yes.
You foresee a range of there's more of a timeshare with the running back as opposed to maybe last year where, kind of got, 20 to 30 carries a game?
Yeah, you hope you can play 2 to 3 guys a game. Last year, obviously, without Ken, we're probably a totally different team. But, and my goal right now is to play 2 to 3 guys, and whoever has the high hand. I have an idea who I think will take off when we get to fall camp. I have an idea who I think 2 guys who will take off, but I want everyone to be prepared and be able to, feel comfortable putting anyone out there.
How much patience do you have, I guess, for a guy maybe, sometimes guys take, 5 to 10 carries to get into the rhythm of the game.
Yeah.
How much patience do you have from that standpoint?
You have to have. I played running back, so I get it. Guys have to get in rhythm. You got to slow the game down a little bit because at the beginning of the game, everything's going fast. Guys are trying to make plays. You're trying to get some momentum going. So I get it. A guy may need 8 plays in a row to go ahead and get in rhythm, get a feel for the game, get a feel for how the zone's looking, get a feel for how the gap schemes and the double teams are working. So I'll be very patient with it because I understand what they could do already. It's just about getting the guy in rhythm and letting the flow of the game take care of everything else.
When did you know last year what you had with Kevin? Was it in the spring?
We knew in the spring. We had an idea. You saw him make a couple cuts and, make a couple people miss, and you saw how physical he could be. And we got to fall camp. He was consistent with it, and, that's the truest measure of success in my eyes, consistency. Guys do it one time, but can they do it over and over? And I think we saw the whole season. He was very consistent. And the first play of the game against Northwestern, obviously, we saw what we all expected at that point.
With these guys, are you getting any feeling like that yet, or is it a little different?
We've had a little separation the past, 2 weeks or so where guys are starting to take off because they're starting to slow things down and understand. I think the last scrimmage, Jalen Berger took a huge step forward because he actually got out there, he got loose, he made plays, he made people miss, he finished on top. That's what we talk about all the time, fall forward and finish on top. And I thought he did a good job out of the backfield of catching the football as well. So he took a tremendous jump forward the last scrimmage.
What about Elijah? Because he's a guy, you've been around him enough, but I don't know if you saw much of him in 2019. He sort of had this breakout year. Maybe looked like he was going to be like a dude for a few years, and then he has COVID last year, 2020, and then last year got hurt early.
Right.
We haven't seen a lot of him since that season. Where's he at now? And do you see any of those flashes? Maybe if you see any of them from that 2019 day?
I have nothing bad to say about Elijah. I love that kid. He's a phenomenal kid and a phenomenal teammate. And that's one thing that I will continue to push him to do is keep being a great teammate and keep being a great leader in the room. He's great for the room. On the field-wise, Elijah knows everything. He knows the offense, and I have no issue putting him out there. Extremely comfortable because I know he's going to go out there and execute every play. The key for him is he tries to be too perfect sometimes because he's a very smart kid, and he tries to overthink at times. But if he could just go out there and play, he'll be just fine. I think you'll see him a little bit more this year.
It seemed like he might have been Ken's biggest fan last year.
Absolutely.
Is that really just
Oh, it is. And that's the guy he is. As long as the team's having success and everyone's doing the right thing, he's good. And that's what I love about the kid. He's a foxhole guy who's going to go in there and work every day. He's going to play his butt off on special teams. He's going to do a great job and fight for you. He's a phenomenal kid. He's going to be a great husband and father one day.
What can you guys do to get better at short yardage?
Well, one, we just got to be tough. That's the whole mindset. When you get to the 3rd and short and 4th and short and the ball's in our hands, I don't care if nobody's blocked on defense. You got to go get it. the whole thing is a mindset, in my opinion. And you got to get guys to understand, stop trying to be perfect, take my footwork, get my eyes right, get on my point of attack, and just go. Go make the play. Put my head down and be physical. So we got to get our guys to just be a little more physical, a little more understanding of the situation as well. There were times last year I don't think we quite understood what down and distance it was, and that's an issue. So we have to be in tune with the game and with the sticks. Because if it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, I got to understand by any means I have to get the first down.
We went back to that accountability rule that you were talking about. How important do you just think that holding each other accountable is in terms of being on-field success?
I think it means everything. Because if I could trust you to be accountable off the field, I have no issue with putting you out there thinking and knowing that you're going to execute hornet protection or 6-man protection. I think the off-the-field stuff translates a lot more to on the field than people may realize. Being on time, being where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be there, in class, front row, paying attention, making good grades. It all correlates because it's a trust factor. When you're out of this building, you're on your own. I'm trusting you're doing the right thing. And if you're doing the right thing out there, I understand that when you get out there, you'll do the right thing as well, or at least make a conscious effort to do the right thing.
What are the complications for your room with the numbers being down on the offensive line?
Reps, we've had to scale back reps in the team period, so guys aren't getting as many reps as I like. But at that point, we just got to maximize each rep, and each guy has done a great job of getting in there and understanding. I script every rep, every period, so I think every guy gets about 8 to 10 reps every practice. So whatever rep you got, you just got to maximize it. But that's been the most part, frustrating part is we don't get the reps that we would normally get in the regular spring.
How does that, not just the reps, but the rhythm of knowing where blockers are going to be, and
Right.
the other way around with blockers knowing where you're going to cut? How much did maybe Ken build that last spring with the guys, and how difficult is it right now?
Well, the good news is, you're able to experiment and get a lot of younger guys reps. So, that was huge for our offensive line for one. A lot of young guys got reps, and they've gotten better. But I do think it plays a factor, just like a quarterback and a receiver, the timing aspect of routes and getting the ball out. For us, last year, Ken, he did a good job of, taking the walkthroughs a lot more serious than he did, other settings, just because he got his eyes right. He was able to get a feel of how the guys are working to the double teams, if they're being a lot more patient. Maybe this guy's step is a little different. So I do think it plays a factor. But the good thing is, you got summer and fall camp to kind of correct those things when everybody gets back.
How hard is running the style, I guess, hard to replicate Ken as well, because, a lot of times it seems like, he improvised
Right.
in the course of a run where he reversed against maybe the blocking pattern and good stuff. That might get another running back into trouble. And, you try to do the same thing. How much are you trying to use his film, I guess, to teach, but also maybe also show where maybe you can't necessarily do this. You have to kind of find your own pathway to do.
Right. Well, Ken had a special talent, is his ability to make people miss, and he had a tremendous vision. But the one thing, we got guys, and they're a different style right now. They don't have that ability that Ken had. It's just harsh reality. So the thing that they have to do well is be consistent with footwork and eyes. If we're running zone, I have to get my eyes correct, stay on track, and trust it. Do it over and over and over again, and be okay with taking 2 yards, taking 4 yards, then I'm popping 8, maybe 2 yards, and then I pop for a big one. It's just a consistency factor. I think that'll be huge for our guys to stay on track and trust it and be consistent with our steps and our eyes, and we'll be fine.
You mentioned Joyner as a third down guy. He had a couple big plays in the bowl game. What did you see from him kind of his second year in the pro?
I think Harold's taken a great step forward in a leadership role. He understands that Ken's gone, and someone has to step up and lead the room, demand more out of the guys, and take heed of, when I'm not there, running Indy, running drill working out on and stuff like that. And I think Harold's done a great job with that. He stepped up. He became a leader. He's doing well. He's on our leadership crew, so I think everyone's seen it as well. And he stepped up also in the weight room. But on the field as well, he's doing a better job with his eyes, with his feet, with his hands and pass protection, and he understands his role. And special teams as well. He's done a great job there as well.
As you look toward fall, I guess, I know you sort of a little bit more to do here, but what will sort of be your goal? Like just sort of paring everything down and getting it, in a pecking order there, I guess, or trying to get more looks at guys, like you said, when those reps haven't come in a little bit.
The one thing that I want to make sure we get accomplished this summer is understanding, every concept in the playbook, every run scheme in the playbook. We were very minimal this spring. We experimented more than we actually would in a week-to-week basis, when we're game planning. So once we narrow everything down, because in the springtime, you throw a lot at these guys. You're running 30 different pass concepts every practice, 20 different run concepts, stuff you'll never go into a game with. So as we go forward, kind of minimalizing and compartmentalizing everything for the guys and understand this, okay, then we'll move on. Let's understand inside zone, then we'll move on. Outside zone, then we'll move on. Counter, duo, everything, so forth and so on. So this summer, I just want to take it bit by bit and piece by piece and make sure these guys understand how everything's being blocked, how we fit in conceptually in the pass game, and if we execute that this summer, we'll be fine in the fall.
Anything else, Coach? All right, thank you.
Good. Thank you, guys.